Hi friends, welcome to Curious Vet channel. I am Dr. Mohsina. In today's video, we will be dealing with a small topic about a nematode parasite in llamas, that is meningeal worm in llamas. The scientific name of meningeal worm is Perilaphos tronchyles tenuis. This picture you can see the meningeal worm detected in a postmortem, the meninges of brain. The adult worm is there. It is also known as deer worm or meningeal deer worm because white-tailed deer is the definitive host, and it frequently infects llamas and alpacas as well. These images show one is the gross image of meningeal worm and the other one is the microscopic view. This is a picture of white-tailed deer, which is the definitive host of meningeal worm. But they seldom show clinical signs. And these terrestrial gastropods like snails and slugs are the intermediate host. And both the white-tailed deer and the intermediate host are compulsory to complete the life cycle of meningeal worm. Llamas and alpacas are aberrant hosts. In llamas, it causes high morbidity and mortality. I put this picture for you just to notice the difference between llama and alpaca. Because people from most of the countries are not familiar with these animals. Coming to the life cycle of meningeal worm. So, the adult worm lay eggs in the meninges of white-tailed deer. The eggs then pass into the venous circulation and travel to the lungs, where they hatch into the first stage larva L1. The L1 are cuffed up, swallowed and passed in the feces of infected deer. Larvae then invade or are ingested by snails or slugs. Snails and slugs serve as intermediate hosts in which the first stage larvae develop into infective stage larvae L3 over a period of 3 to 4 weeks. The infected snails or slugs are then ingested by susceptible aberrant hosts such as llamas, alpacas, goats, sheep, etc. and the L3 are released in the digestive tract. Infected L3 larvae migrate to the spinal cord and continue to migrate aimlessly within the central nervous system, causing neurologic diseases. Coming to the clinical signs, the typical neurologic signs are hypermetria, ataxia, stiffness, muscle weakness, posterior paresis, paralysis, arching back, circling and blindness. It is important to note that these clinical signs are shown in llamas but not shown by white-tailed deer, that is the definitive host are not showing any signs. And the clinical signs generally begin in the hind limbs and progress to the front limbs. And the course of the disease is variable. Usually, the clinical signs appear around 45 to 53 days post-infection. This disease is a serious threat to llama producers because of the high morbidity and mortality rates. It has been shown that as few as 5 larvae can cause 100% morbidity and 67% mortality in llamas. And once the worm reaches the spinal cord, anthelmintics are ineffective. Coming to the diagnosis, a definitive diagnosis can only be made post-mortem by demonstrating larvae or adult meningeal worms in the brain or spinal cord. In this picture, there is adult meningeal worm in the brain and here there is L3 larvae in the spinal cord. As we mentioned before, once the larva reaches the spinal cord, anthelmintics treatment are ineffective. CSF abnormality of eosinophilic pleocytosis can be seen, but eosinophilic pleocytosis, as we all know, may indicate any type of verminous encephalitis. So it is not a definitive or specific finding, since other conditions can also cause eosinophilic pleocytosis. So this picture shows a right stained image of CSF from a llama which is showing eosinophilic pleocytosis. But in this case, there was meningeal worm infection causing the pleocytosis. Then coming to the treatment, this condition is very difficult to treat because of the severity of clinical signs and also due to the difficulty in definitively diagnosing the parasite. Another reason is many anthelmintics does not cross the blood-brain barrier. Ivermectin has been suggested as part of the management of this disease because it can cross the blood-brain barrier, but it is ineffective once the larvae are in the spinal cord. Anti-inflammatory drugs are also important for reduction of the inflammation associated with migrating larvae and the subsequent inflammatory response to the kill larvae, and they prevent the clinical signs from worsening after treatment. Coming to prevention and control, we have to control the definitive host and the intermediate host. So, to control the definitive host, use deer-proof fencing around their pastures, and also clear out thick ground-covered grass to control the intermediate host, that is the terrestrial gastropods like snails and slugs. That's all about meningeal worms in llamas. So if you like the video, like it and comment and share with your friends. If you are new to this channel and not subscribed yet, please subscribe and click the notification bell so that you get notified each time I upload a video. And I will be uploading at least one video every week. So see you soon with another video. Thank you.